Porsche 993 Speedster Remastered by Gunther Werks review. Add, subtract, then add more.
But before we start, please support us by pressing the like and subscribe buttons, so that we can continue to provide information about car and motorcycle news. Also turn on the bell button to get the latest updates. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you.
For preventative legal reasons, the official name of the car you see on these pages is the Porsche 993 Speedster Remastered by Gunther Werks. Though for simplicity's sake let's just refer to it here as the Speedster. Huntington Beach, California-based Gunther Werks will build only 25 examples of the roofless wonder, and buying one will set you back $850,000, including the price of the donor Porsche vehicle. If you think that's too expensive, well, think again. All 25 are, predictably, spoken for. Underneath the voluptuous body panels sit the remnants of a 993 generation 1995 Porsche 911 Cabriolet. The Speedster's engine is still air-cooled, and it spins up to 7,800 revolutions per minute. The original 3.6-liter flat six is punched out to 4.0 liters, is built by Rothsport Racing, and produces 431 horsepower and 335 pound-feet of torque. Porsche nerds say making more than 100 horsepower per liter from an air-cooled engine is essentially impossible, yet here we are. Not to mention the Speedster has an analog lover's dream manifestation of a 6-speed manual transmission, and the car weighs well less than 3,000 pounds thanks to a body made entirely of carbon fiber. Then there's the interior, which is so lovely you might find it difficult to think anything else matters. About a year ago, I visited Gunther Werks HQ for a sneak peek at a stripped-to-the-bare metal 993,911 Cabriolet. This Teutonic carcass would be reborn, or remastered, to put it into Gunther spiel, as the upstart Porsche Hot Rodder's new Speedster, the successor to the company's flabbergastingly great-to-drive 911 coupe. The curse of being a tiny manufacturer like Gunther Werks is that you are free to build cars however you like, but you run the risk of going too far. As I said of the Greenwich Green 911 I drove, driving on the street with the sport exhaust switched on is an exercise in pain management. That's just one example, but the car in that state of tune was simply too much. Gunther Werks subsequently somewhat softened it, quieter exhaust, more compliant suspension, and the results were wonderful. Sublime, even. You can count on one hand the number of cars that are better for pure driving, but the toned-down coupe remained so extreme that it was easy to want something a bit tamer. This is where the Speedster comes in. No, the company's second customer offering isn't for most people, not least because they can't afford one. As for the lack of a roof, the car comes that way, with no top. This probably breaks the hearts of those who live in rainy places like Miami or Seattle, but even if you live in a perennially sunny place like Los Angeles, having no roof whatsoever can be a bit of a, shall we say, inconvenience. For instance, Gunther Werks delivered the Speedster to my house on a Friday, around 7 a.m. as fate would have it. This took place in December at the height of LA's cold snap. The ambient temperature was about 38 degrees when I climbed inside. That's not crazy cold in most scenarios. For a car without a top or heater, 6 degrees above freezing is miserable. I bundled up, tossed a pair of gloves in the cockpit, and headed to the awesome Angeles Crest Highway a few short miles away, where the temperature would drop another 10 degrees. Imagine the curse words that flowed when, a mile or so up the mountain, I went to put on my gloves and realized I'd somehow grabbed two lefts. Worse, the shifter is an aluminum ball, so my right hand froze. Luckily, once I got to the little car show I attend on Friday mornings, I was able to trade a blanket I'd tossed in the passenger seat for a pair of purple leather gloves. No, really. Point is, this will never be an owner's primary vehicle, or even a second or fifth. This machine is for serious car collectors, for the confirmed Porschephile, for the person who already has everything but wants a little something else. And why not? The driving experience is pure Gunther. Analog, mechanical, symphonic. Fluids were burned, metal strained against metal, and ears couldn't stop smiling. Much like the aforementioned 911 coupe, the Speedster's front end is essentially without peer. Perhaps the new 992 Porsche 911 GT3 has as much front bite, and maybe the rear-drive BMW M3 competition can compete. The Bugatti Pure Sport certainly can, but that's about it as far as bitey front ends go on street-legal cars. The engine is superb, and the power-to-weight ratio is even better. As rooted as the front is, the Speedster is by no means as surgical or precise as the coupe. Although the Speedster's body is carbon fiber, its underlying chassis is a nearly 3-decade-old hunk of open-top German steel. Porsche never intended for the 993,911 donor car to cope with the torsional or lateral forces thrown at it by the Speedster's big engine and wide, sticky Continental tires. Gunther Werks says it did what it could to reinforce and stiffen the chassis, but through tight corners where the suspension is loaded and the road's a bit rough, you feel some cowl shake. You could argue the extra vibrations just add to the fun. After Angeles Crest, it was time to meet our photo team in downtown LA. The weather had turned Southern California perfect. The birds were singing, the thumbs and cell phones of every passerby were raised. And suddenly the Speedster's interior became even more awe-inspiring. This thing's insides are absolutely airlick. From the Alcantara-wrapped carbon fiber steering wheel to the carbon dash stop and door cards, plus the luscious leather pulls, the white-face central tachometer that pops against the 4 black secondary dials, the body-colored dash, and some of the finest quality leather you'll ever experience in a car. Your surroundings from the driver's seat are fabulous. It's all an absolute visual treat. I was still wearing those purple gloves, and somehow the whole rainbow enchilada worked so well. The silliest part was becoming momentarily disappointed when it was time to start driving for the camera, because it meant the end of meditating on the interior. The rest of the details are about as stare-worthy. Pop the frunk, and you'll be bowled over not just by the sheer amount of hexagon quilted leather, but how neat, tidy, and well-presented every piece is. Especially the remote, golden damper reservoirs. Things are even prettier in the engine bay. There you see more of that yummy leather, as well as an engine anyone would proudly display on a coffee table. The Speedster's every surface, every detail, is a wow moment. Even the door pulls are sexy. The Gunther Werks Speedster is a gorgeous and refined hot rod, the highlight of any automotive gathering, a new infinity stone for Thanos' glove. Sure, it's a plaything, but some of our fondest memories involve the toys we played with as children. There's nothing wrong with a bit of juvenile whimsy, a touch of high-concept frivolity. 25 fortunate people know exactly what I'm talking about.
Thanks for watching. Drop a like. Leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.